In Matthew 3:10, we're told that John the Baptist said, "Even now the axe is laid at the root of the tree, and every tree that does not bear fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire." He was talking about the religious hierarchy and those that were not willing to believe his message, which was to repent and believe the good news of Messiah. That's Jesus. He said those who would not believe would be cut down and the wrath of God would fall on them. I think of that because a few years back I was given little saplings, and these maple trees were planted in my yard, and it's interesting to see how they grow differently, each and every one of them. Some seem to have grown pretty well. I like this one here in the center of my yard, and it's lovely and strong and tall. Some seem to grow faster than others. Others take strange shapes. This one, if you can see it, is rather slender, and this shoots up straight like a pole. It's hard to know what to make of it. I don't know what's happening to it. It just seems to be going straight up. This one I planted years ago. Probably was one of my first ones. Now I would say it's at least up to 30 feet tall, and it's grown well, and I trimmed off more of the base of it. These other little ones are more recent, and they're struggling a bit to grow. I even have some that are actually two side by side, but they seem to be struggling, and I water them today. This is another strange one. It's had a hard time because the ground was dry, and before I had some ash trees, but the ash borers destroyed them and they were all taken down. And so I planted some near the basis of where the other trees were, but this is a strange one. He struggled a long time and required a lot of effort, a lot of water and care. I'm still not sure what to make of him. And this one has a bit of a crooked base, but it's taken root, and I think it'll make it fine. But it's interesting to watch how different trees develop, and it reminds me of different people as they grow spiritually in their faith. This again is that nice central one that's grown and the branches are extending outward. But there's been a couple that I haven't been too happy with. There was one over here, and you can just see there's the base of it now. This is all that's left of it. It never did quite grow. In fact, it just seemed to grow off to one side, and I think it lacks sunlight, and I finally just tired of dealing with its obstinacy, and I cut it down, and now the remains are over on the fire wood pile over there, and the branches are over in the corner there. And this one was, I thought, pretty hopeful, but it had a crooked base, and it too would not grow. There was again an ash tree in its place years ago, but that had to be taken down, and there's all that's left of this tall one. It wasn't quite as tall as my central tree here, but it was crooked at the base and seemed to be crowding this other established tree here. And I finally said enough is enough, and I took it down. Again, the remains are way off on the pile over there. That pine tree was just a little sprig that I took from a friend's front yard. It was only about 1.5 feet tall, but this has really developed nicely, and it's going up higher and higher. Trees grow the way they grow, and it's my yard that God gave to me, and I choose what I will do with them. God is sovereign over our lives, and when we do not develop as He wants us to, He is not obligated to keep us intact. Sometimes when people go the way they go and refuse to respond to his care, he says, enough. Your time has come. The people of Israel rejected their Messiah for the most part. Some believed, and to all who believed, he gave the right to become the children of God, children born of God, as it says in John chapter 1. You and I have choices to make about how we will respond to God, whether we'll grow straight and strong and true, higher and higher, or whether we refuse his care and his love and his offer of life. We can't assume that he will always put up with us in our obstinacy. It's not a threat, it's just a reality. God's care is always there. God's love is there. But he expects us to grow and to bear fruit. Otherwise, we're destined for the woodpile. And I won't burn these logs here, these branches, right away, because they need to dry out. But they will dry out. They will die out completely. They've been cut down, and so they have no source now of life, just as people have no further source of life when they are cut away from the only true source of life, which is faith and truth and a right relationship with Jesus Christ. This is just the pile of scraps, twigs and branches, and that's the destination, the fire. May the Lord help us to be serious about our relation to him before we too perish. The choice is ours, isn't it? Believe the gospel and be saved, or face the consequences. I welcome your thoughts today. God bless.